Recently, I have discovered a whole world, an entire subculture on the internet that I didn't know existed. The community of cyberdolls. You see, this community is actually pretty small and very niche, and it focuses on achieving this unreal beauty, almost like a porcelain doll. So all the people who belong in this community do whatever is possible to look not real, like an actual doll, non-human in a way. And to do that, these cyber dolls use makeup and Photoshop to change their facial features entirely and become unrecognizable. And of course, there are multiple content creators that belong to this community all over the world. But one person in particular stood out to me recently. Umi Chii, a 19-year-old Filipino cyber doll from TikTok. Umi Chii became popular due to the fact that she doesn't hide that she edits her videos and pictures. And in fact, she even made a series of video tutorials showing exactly how she edits her pictures, what apps she uses, and etc. People just loved how she is so transparent about editing and doesn't want to put unrealistic beauty standards out there. You know, everyone on the internet edits their pictures, but nobody wants to admit it. Umi Chii even has a slogan on her TikTok description that says, "Editing is not something to hide." Also, she even made a whole separate account showing her videos without editing just for her followers to see the difference. That's how honest she is about this. I think naturally people do tend to hate this style of editing and the whole subculture of cyberdolls because it looks too unrealistic and too scary. You know, when you look at all those pictures and videos, it kind of gives you an uncanny valley effect of sorts, which is exactly what cyberdolls are trying to achieve. So when I saw hate in Umichi's comment section and saw multiple parody videos made about her, I didn't think much of it until I learned all the crazy controversy that people exposed her for. And I really mean it's a lot. A lot to discuss. So what did she even do? And why did the whole internet turn on her recently? Let's talk about it. Hi! As always, before we start, I would just like to say that I'm not trying to promote hate towards anyone that will be mentioned today, so please don't go and harass them in the comments. And also, while we're at it, can you please subscribe to my channel if you like me? My goal is 30,000 subscribers and we're so close to that. I will really appreciate your help. Thank you. Okay. Let's start from the beginning. Like I mentioned before, Umi Chii is Filipino, but one of the controversies surrounding her is that allegedly she's trying to be Japanese specifically. Now, what do I mean by that? There are some videos of her speaking in Japanese and sometimes even faking a Japanese accent. One of my favorite videos on the internet is actually her doing like a shopping haul or something and pronouncing English words with a Japanese accent.
シェード椿プレミアムエクスレペアシャンプーこの椿コンディショナートリートメントはいシェード椿プレミアムエクスレペア
Or when she was fully speaking in Japanese in a high-pitched voice and people made a meme out of it.
そうだそうだはい全然わかんない全然わかんないですそうだそうだはい全然わかんない全然わかんないです
I am so sorry for laughing at this, but it's just so funny. It's like, hey, what drink do you want?
そうだそうだはい全然わかんない
It kind of reminds me of that Roblox video.
Stocky Tandaki do.
On her Facebook, Umi actually called out teenagers that use ChatGPT to translate into Japanese and to use it for their aesthetic. And she said that they don't want to embarrass themselves in front of native speakers, but she's literally just projecting. Like, don't act like you don't do the exact same thing. Because to you, for some reason, Japanese culture, language, and aesthetic is superior. One of the saddest parts of her obsession with Japanese language and trying to learn it and trying to speak it is that in one of her Facebook posts, she said this: "I realize I've likely always used my being fluent in English as protective means to self-isolate from the cruel, illiterate, inbred phenotype of Filipinos and as a supplement to finding genuinely kind people without brains the size of cashew." I'm just gonna remind you that Umi Chii is Filipino herself. And in this Facebook post, she says that Filipinos look inbred and have no brains? What's going on? Maybe her trying to be Japanese and learning the language and trying to pose as Japanese aesthetic comes from self-hatred? maybe she hates herself and she hates being Filipino for some reason, and that's why she's so obsessed with Japanese culture and puts it on the pedestal. How can you be racist towards Filipinos if you are yourself Filipino? But that was actually a very mild controversy that I brought up to prepare you for what I'm gonna say next. There is an allegation towards Umi Chii that she is Loli baiting. And for those of you who don't know, Loli baiting, according to Urban Dictionary, is a term used to describe looking characters to attract icons. Loli is actually a type of anime character that looks like a young girl, a very young girl, but can be like a million years old. She just looks and has a body of a young girl. And lolicons are people who are attracted to these anime characters in various ways. It is very controversial and can be used by games to attract these kind of men and people. There has been a debate that's going on forever whether attraction to Loli is ethical or is it just inherently problematic. I personally think that's very gross and I don't want to associate myself with that, but that is not the point of bringing this up. Umi Chii has a tendency to infantilize herself. Let me explain. As a part of her obsession with Japanese culture, she often buys clothes that are stereotypical of Japanese culture. There is a video that people bring up a lot and it's her dancing in like a Japanese gym school uniform. She is 19 years old, as it says in her TikTok bio, almost 20. This stereotypical gym uniform is a school uniform worn by students that go to school. There is no actual point of her owning this sort of clothing. She's not in Japan, she does not go to school in Japan. Why would she even need to own this piece of clothing in the first place? Like, there is no point in that. There is no point in that. And it's like so suspicious that she's trying to portray herself as like a schoolgirl, like a student, when she's not. And okay, maybe we're all reaching for it. Who even cares what kind of clothing other people wear anyway? But as you look closer into the video, you start noticing things. So she does a very specific dance move in the middle of the video. Okay, so I don't know how to do it, but it's like this one. And someone explained on TikTok where it comes from and what it means.
The dance she is doing is actually from the song Loli God Requiem. The person in the video is a Lisaqqq, meaning pretty Loli, which basically means a young girl who likes to tease older men who are attracted to her. Yumi knew what she was doing. She is lollibating.
So she basically repeats dance move of a Loli from that music video while wearing a schoolgirl gym uniform. Ugh. Also, someone on Facebook commented on her post and called her a Loli, and she liked that comment. And on other occasions, she tends to dress up rather childish for her age, in kind of Georgie Fuku style, and considering that she is 19 years old and she tries to make herself out as more childish, that is what people say is lollibating. It also doesn't help that she actually allegedly bought like a stereotypical sailor Japanese uniform that we all know of and think about when someone says Japan school uniform. And she said on her Facebook post, like, that is so me. Wow, I didn't know you were Japanese. Well, lollibating is a very vague term. I don't know how it applies in real life. And after all, we don't know the purpose of her buying this type of clothing and doing the type of dances because she never said that she likes this type of thing. So I don't know. What do you think? I just think it's weird. And I also find it weird that she's trying to fit in those Japanese stereotypes about what Japanese people wear to school, all those uniforms and everything, when she's not Japanese herself. I think if you want to show appreciation for a certain culture, you gotta do it right. But that is not the end of controversies. Another thing that people bring up is Umi Chii's Facebook post about cosplaying a specific character. Specifically, she said, I just realized my body is good enough now to cosplay Sora, Kasugano, and Saya. Guys, I'm so sorry, I'm Russian trying to speak English. I don't know how to pronounce Japanese names. I'm so sorry, that probably sounded so awful. So, the character that she brings up, named Sora, is from the anime called Yosugana Sora. I'm so sorry for pronouncing it wrong. And it's the anime about two siblings, a brother and a sister, in which they lose their parents to a car accident and then they move to a rural town, and the sister, Sora, develops feelings for her brother. You know, I think there is another name for that, and it may start with in and end with cest. When I searched it up and read the description of this anime, I was like, what? Why would you voluntarily want to cosplay a character from that show in the first place? Specifically, the main character who is a sister that falls in love with her brother. That's pretty controversial. And that is what led people to form another allegation against Umi Chii. The allegation being is that she supports incest. That's insane. I think I should also point out that there's an allegation that Umi Chii sexualizes men that wear glasses that comes from this Facebook post, and that she promotes ED on her Twitter account. Both of those I'm not gonna talk about, because first one is just not important at all. I think it's just funny how people find it problematic. I don't see any problem with it. I've said worse about anime men when I was 11. And second one is very serious and very true and dangerous. But unfortunately, YouTube doesn't like when I talk about ED, so I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have to leave this one out. One thing that I personally would like to bring up is one of her Facebook posts. God, those damn Facebook posts, am I right? When you hear Umi Chii and Facebook post in one sentence, you have no idea what to expect. It just gets worse. And in that one, specifically, she says, propelling body dysmorphic disorder into a niche collective awareness by being an articulate, post-ironically, hyper-fake kawaii cybergirl is an extremely unique and kind of hilarious thing I've come to do. I'm proud of it. What? Propelling body dysmorphic disorder into by being an articulate, post-ironically, hyper-fake kawaii cybergirl is an extremely unique and kind of hilarious thing I've come to do. I'm proud of it. I'm sorry. What? What language is this? Okay, but in all seriousness, to me, it looks like she's kind of saying that she's proud for using her body dysmorphia to create this like niche cybergirl community and make people aware of editing. I don't know, maybe she's just saying a bunch of nonsense. I don't know, that's not important. What's important is that eventually all the hate, all the parody videos reached Umi Chii, and she posted a long video on TikTok addressing all the hate and the mockery directly. I will play the video for you guys, but just to warn you, Umi Chii is from Yapin City, she's from Yapaville, and she tends to use, how do I say it? A very expensive vocabulary, very smart and long words, essentially saying a whole bunch of nothing and stretching it out as much as she can. All the parody videos are not an exaggeration.
The words I chose in the foreign language of the Japanese are very particular, in which it connects us through the fine beings of the fibers of each intricate noun.
So after I play the video, I will explain you in a short summary what she says in normal human language, and I will also put a Subway Surfers gameplay to the side so you don't get bored.
Hello, I'd like to address all of the controversy surrounding me lately, here on TikTok and in general. But before I can honestly be capable of doing that, I'd appreciate it if all of you with the things to say regarding this can comment under this video every criticism you may have of things that I have done or that I've been alleged to have done, so that I can make sure not to miss a single point for when I go on to deconstruct everything for you all in a following video, as properly and as truthfully as I can. The criticisms which are valid, the things which are absolute lies, and the sentiments that are just pure, unadulterated hatred masquerading as morality. I really would love to address this all as comprehensively as I possibly can, but as you can imagine, I don't have any conceivable means right now to really know very much of what's going on, because that would mean actually looking through all of the accounts created supposedly to criticize my actions, but that ultimately on the most part only persist to demean me for my appearance, my demeanor, and my personhood as a whole. And so, bits and pieces from you all would be a great help in making this a productive and openly communicative discourse, and I'll make sure to read through every comment that is civil, constructive, and coming from a place of plain, level-headed critique, but not of plain condescension and hatred. That's all. Thank you.
I really hope you didn't fall asleep during this long monologue. But basically all she says was, hey guys, please stop hating on me. I will accept your criticism only if you say it nicely, only if you use constructive criticism. I don't want to talk or know any of my controversies from these accounts that were created to expose me unless they reach out to me directly with constructive and nice words only. Not a single allegation was addressed in the video, just the hate. Why post such a long video on TikTok if all you're gonna say is that please be nice to me and don't say hate comments to me and please explain me my problems? Why did it take you so many minutes of yapping just to get to the point of the video, just to barely get to the point of the video? Obviously people were not satisfied with this video.
How are you gonna cosplay being intelligent and eloquent and all of that when you don't even have any self-awareness? I've been thinking about like what bugged me the most about Umi Chii's non-apology is the fact that she presents herself as this like intelligent, academic, English speaking person, but then she's gonna make this video asking people to give their criticisms about her, even though they've been doing that. Granted, I do not condone the death threats and whatever that people are sending to her. That's like, no one should ever receive those. But again, she's trying to present herself as this like educated, eloquent person. But again, doesn't have the self-awareness to be able to identify what people are so angry about. Make it make sense. And also, the purpose of that video wasn't to gather the constructive criticism that she was asking for in that video. Judging from the comments that she would like in the comment section, she's basically just liking the comments that are kissing her ass and basically telling her that she didn't do anything wrong. So that video was just there to affirm her belief that she didn't do anything wrong and that she doesn't have to apologize for anything, which is why she didn't make an apology video initially and just made that asking for constructive criticism video. And honestly, I think it's so silly the way she worded that whole video also. Like, girl, just get straight to the point. Not everything needs big words, not everything needs flowery, complicated words. If anything, that just proves to actual English speakers that you're not actually eloquent. Mastering a language has more to do than just your vocabulary. Mastering a language also has to do with knowing context, knowing what situations to use formal or informal language. Like, literally using informal language in a formal setting is rude, and vice versa. Using formal language in an informal situation is silly. And also, I will forever judge someone's mastery of a language, in this case English, by the way they explain something. Best way to tell if someone is actually really good at English is if they can explain a really complicated topic in a concise and non-complicated way, and everyone gets it, no matter what language skill level, or no matter what English skill level that the people in the group have. That is what true mastery of English, or any language honestly, is. Again, language is there to convey what ideas and thoughts you want to have effectively. If you're just going around in circles trying to use as many flowery and big words as you can, then what's the point? You're giving us a whole bunch of air and none of the meat, none of the thought. But yeah, anyways, that's it. Again, I do not condone sending any hate, like actual hate, and D threats towards her. This is just actual constructive criticism and not just kissing her behind.
But then a miracle happened. Finally. Oh my god. Finally. Umi Chii decided to post a YouTube video talking about all the controversies, all the allegations, absolutely addressing everything so that we can get all the answers, all the clear explanations and her side of story. Unfortunately, the video is so long and we've been here for a while now. So I would just summarize for you the key points, the key responses that she said. But of course, you can always go and watch her video for yourself and make your own conclusions. So first of all, the allegation about incest. Umi Chii says that she never wanted to associate herself with this type of thing and those types of anime. Saying that you want to cosplay a character from a problematic anime doesn't mean that you support the problematic part of it. And that is literally the case. Umi Chii said that she only likes the visuals of this character, the aesthetic, the specific fashion called Lolita, a Japanese fashion focused on elegance and long big dresses. And she really liked this fashion, which is why she wanted to cosplay her. He never said that the reason behind the cosplay was a particular interest in and I totally believe that, because actually Sora is a very popular character that is even used for like a relatable memes on Pinterest. I literally searched up the name of this character and this image popped out. It's a very popular character. So no, absolutely not. She does not support incest. Second of all, Loli baiting. Specifically about the comment calling her Loli, turns out that it was her close friend that commented that, and it was just like an inside joke between them because she tends to get cancelled for allegedly baiting, and so her friend is like joking about this, like, haha, like, wow, that's so funny. Yes, that's weird, but it's like an inside joke between two friends, so of course it's gonna be weird and other people are not gonna understand it, so it's not a big deal. It got debunked. Then she goes on to describe the reasons of her editing herself like that and being a part of cyberdoll community and what it is about as a whole. She said that she doesn't do it because she tries to pose herself as an East Asian woman, it tries to be Japanese or something, or that she hates herself and has body dysmorphia. She does it to strictly look like a ball-jointed porcelain doll that are popular in Chinese social media, xiaohongshu, and Pinterest. Also, speaking of uniforms, Umi Chii brings up an example of Chinese women wearing the exact same gym uniform as she wore in the video. It actually has an official name, but I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. And they do it to simply appreciate the culture that they're not a part of. And since there is no problem with them, why there should be a problem with her wearing it? And same goes for sailor uniform. She specifies that there is actually a specific Japanese fashion style where people, both teenagers and adults, dress up in kind of like school aesthetic. With the ties, with pleated skirts, with the shirts, like formal attire, but make it fun. And she has been interested in wearing this Japanese fashion ever since she was 16 years old, when she actually was a student. It is a whole subculture in Japan and across the globe to dress like you go to school. But in no way it is intended for grown men that are attracted to this sort of thing to look at you and, to attract them in your life. All just for fun, for fashion. No other evil purpose. Like, how is it different from gyros including school uniform in their outfits? Like a grown women 30, 40 years old gyros that have children still dressing up as like school girl style. Like, how is it different from that? Even if some men would see these women dress up as students and find that attractive, how is it the women's fault? How is it the fashion's fault? Fashion's purpose is absolutely innocent and has no connection to that, obviously. And for the claim of self-racism and this Filipino self-hatred, Umi Chii says that she was always open about being Filipino, and she always enthusiastically put it in her TikTok bio, said it to people on lives when they asked what nationality is she. And we all noticed that, but it doesn't make the Facebook post less weirder. So what about her calling the phenotype of Filipinos brainless and inbred? By the word phenotype, she meant like a specific group of Filipinos that she knows of that are like that. So she only talks about that specific group, that specific phenotype of Filipinos, not an entire ethnicity. And I get it. She tends to speak in these long, smart words that nobody bothers to Google the meaning of nowadays anyway. And I see how it's so easily to be misunderstood. But I think she literally should have worded it better to help people understand what she means instead of just using all those filler words. I know and I knew what phenotype means, but like I didn't think, like, that was not my first thought. My first thought was self-racism. So that entire allegation was just a misunderstanding about the Japanese language, her making high-pitched voice when speaking Japanese, and all the accents things and all the videos that I showed you, like this other one. She addresses it by saying that she actually uses a specific language learning technique. I unfortunately never heard of it before, but she said it's called like shadowing, and it's a technique where you like mimic the accent of a native speaker to make you get used to the language better, to already have the accent down so you don't speak like me in broken English that sounds Russian, or like people claim I'm also German. Don't be like me. So she does it so she gains like a natural Japanese accent, and so that people can understand her better when she speaks Japanese. It is funny. It is kind of cringe. But it was definitely not worth all the mockery and bullying that she got from it. Which brings me to my conclusion. Ultimately, Umi Chii said this in the description: I would really like to not play into the game of cancel culture nor bend to its trope of no forgiveness. I am just a person. Please consider communicating with kindness, or hopefully just leaving me be. Drama is a selfish, wasteful use of our limited time. I sincerely just want to live my life and to stay alive without being exploited for any longer. I wish you all well. And this is one of the few things that I actually agree with her on. Some posts were absolutely taken out of any context and exaggerated beyond recognition. It was all misunderstood and taken the wrong way. She was harassed, hated, and doxxed all over the internet. And even though I myself personally am not a fan of Umi Chii, to be honest with you, She's just a person on the internet who got famous for editing her pictures. There is actually no need for her to become this absolute villainess on the internet. Because even though she did say wrong things and did some questionable stuff, they were so mild and so insignificant that it's just not worth it to dox her over it. Over some stupid Facebook post. They literally doxed her and her family. Let's not act like we all don't make mistakes. Let's not act like we're all angels here. We all posted wrong and embarrassing things on the internet, and we all had weird jokes with our closest friends. But after all, she is a content creator, so it's her job to address all the controversy, and I'm so glad she put this video out and she talked about it, even though she said it was not an apology, it was an address, direct address of all the allegations. And I'm very glad she did it, because it shows how much people can go for just to spread hate, take all the things out of context just to hate on someone. I'm just glad that she overall reached out and talked about all the things that were written in the document about her, addressed it one by one, made a very formal format of the video. Unlike some other content creators that have even worse allegations and just choose to stay silent. Also guys, can we address the weird thing that is in the background of Umi's video? I think the teddy bear thing that's taped in the back of the wall is very weird. But as always, that's just my opinion. If you have a different one, you can always express it in my comment section. If you just want to say something, you can always do that in my comments. I'm so glad to hear you guys' opinion on things. I will please ask you to subscribe to my channel. My goal is 30,000 subscribers, and guys, we're so close to that. I'm literally so happy. Thank you so much for following me. It means so much to me. And also subscribe to my other social media that I linked in description. Like this video or not, I don't really care. And now, bye!